Hi, everyone, and welcome to Soul Sister Sunday with Lady D, Asria, Kate, and Peyton. We are talking about integrating the intense energies today. We were supposed to do this last week, but the energies were so freaking intense. We had to reschedule till this week. So we're going to get into it. I do have a few announcements, and then we're going to get into the show. Um, First of all, to get in touch with any of these beautiful ladies, all of their info will be in the description of the video underneath. Also, I have a few things going on in terms of sales. So for Christmas, I'm having a 20% off Christmas sale. All of my 30-minute readings are 20% off. They're usually 60, they're 48. My 1 hour soul therapy sessions, which are spiritual counseling sessions, my 1 hour readings are usually $111. They're 88. All you have to do is go to my website, and there are no special links or discount codes because they were working for some and not others. To make it easy, we just changed Paula and I changed the prices on the website, and they're going to stay up there, these 20% off, until the day after Christmas. Also, if you want to get a New Year prediction reading via email, I'm not sure if I'll be doing another Psychic Live, so I'm making this available because this was very, very popular for my Psychic Lives. What it is I give you what you can predict, what you can expect within the first few months of the new year. It's I do it via audio files, so I record it so you can listen to it, and also it turns into an automatic text file via AI. That's 25. That's via email, and yeah, that's about it. So those are the announcements, and let's get to the nitty gritty. So let me just start by saying everything was fine and dandy. And then we're all having, well, I'll speak for myself. I'm having my Thanksgiving dinner. Things are doing, I was feeling great. Then, I don't know, Thanksgiving Eve, I'm sitting down in front of the television, and all of a sudden it was like a cosmic fucking truck hit me. And then for 2 weeks, it was all I could do to get up and just exist. If I felt like I felt like I was older than Methuselah. I ate, I was exhausted. All I could do was do readings, do my clients, and then lay on the couch or go to bed. And at some point, I did even have to cancel clients because I can't read people when at certain points when I don't feel well. When you don't feel well, you can't connect. So I just want to know what in God's name happened. What was the deal? I know that we are ascending. I know it has a lot to do with Three Eye Atlas. I'm getting downloads. We've been purging DNA upgrades. Our body's going from carbon based to crystalline. There's all kinds of things going on, but I just wanted to get your perspective. I'm going to start with you, Kate, since you're right next to me, and then we're going to go around.
Okay, my
Around
perspective
the
on it.
table.
Okay. Because I completely agree. The last 2 weeks, and it started on February, on Thanksgiving Day. And then the energies have been really heavy for 2 weeks. What I felt like is I'm going between two energies. And to me, visually, when I looked at it, Lady D, when we were talking, it looks like when you're on a pair of water skis and you're being tugged. So I feel like we're being tugged, and then there's this friction. There's this wave that kind of follow us. That's what my week felt like. Like I'm being tugged very slowly, so I'm almost really sunk in the water, and it's dragging me. And so for me, it took a lot of meditation, a lot of Vipassana meditation, which is you're focusing on the mind, then you're focusing on the body, and doing that to kind of, like, I would say, ground myself, but kind of orient myself in the energies. I just kept coming back to that and taking salt baths. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Peyton, what was your perspective on the energy the last 2 weeks, and how did you feel?
Well, unbeknownst to me that the world was experiencing an energy shift, I just knew my life was in complete shambles and in chaos. So everything was like a complete upheaval. lots of stress, lots of turmoil, a little bit like out of left field sort of thing, something that I might have seen coming, but still surprised me when it happened. You know what I mean? So it was a very stressful past 2 weeks. It also includes me having to relocate, like move. So it was quite a big impact on me. So I think other people on the panel or maybe in the audience will be able to relate to some of that upheaval that happened to them this past 2 weeks.
Yeah, especially moving. That's really, really big. Moving is a huge, huge
Mhm.
upheaval and big, very stressful. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Peyton. That's awful, awful. Azria, what's your perspective on the last couple of weeks, energy-wise, and how have you felt?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, ladies. I think especially for Thanksgiving, obviously I'm here in the UK, so it's to me, I was like just getting on with a normal day and got up in the morning, was absolutely fine. Come about midday, 1 o'clock, something like that. Oh, you could have knocked me down with a feather. Really,
Mhm.
I went from being relatively active during the day to I just felt very, very tired. But it was kind of like my body was tired, my head was tired. So I just went to bed. And similar to Kate, it was the case of over that 2 week period, there was lots of cleansing, lots of clearing, lots of the one thing I was doing a lot of was grounding because, as you said, it's that energy that's going up, it's that energy that's going out. So, as much as we may or may not be doing our own practices or meditating or connecting in, there is so much more going on within our various energy fields. So, again, it was 1 minute again, I'd be like washing the dishes and I'd suddenly feel very spacey. And I'm particularly checking in just to make sure that there was no other nasties going on. But it was. And my guides were just saying, you need to go and lay down. You need to go and lay down. And I'm really sorry to hear what you're going through as well, Peyton. But I'd also agree with the fact that it was clearing out the last of the crap. It was really kind
Yeah.
of, there was things in sort of my personal life as well where it came to the end of cycles. Again, I know we might cover off like the 12-12 portal, which has been in that time, but it was certainly the case of there was so many things that just came to an end. And it wasn't as though it was like coming up to it. It was kind of like, oh, that's finished, or oh, that person's not talking to me, or oh, I've finished doing that project, or oh, that piece of work is no longer needed.
Mhm.
Everything was seemed to come into a little bit of an abrupt end, and it wasn't nasty or horrible. It just seemed like the right thing, but is the only way of describing it. But at the same time, it was past 2 weeks, as you were saying, Dee, just tired a lot of the time. But I mean, for me, I got enough sleep and things like that, but that's sort of like lethargy as well. So because there is so much, as everyone's saying, that's going on within our system. So yeah, very much agree with all you ladies.
Do you mind if I say something to piggyback
Go
on that?
for it.
Okay, so yeah, all these, you're right, Asria, how you described it was all these things were just done, and and for me, I just knew they were done. Like I have whiteboards in my office, and I have different projects that I had in mind. I'm going to do this and this and this and this, and throughout the 2 weeks, I was getting clarity. Oh no, this project is, I'm not interested in this. This, I'm not going to do this one. I'm going to have to say no to this. I'll have to say no to this, but then these are the three or whatever it was, the amount that I'm going to go forward with. I just had this knowing, this sense of knowing through all this whole process, through the detoxing, through the clearings, through the trying to connect. And the big thing was trying to stay grounded. And for me, it was the salt baths or the, or the meditating, like finding my place in the world. I mean, within the energies, my up and my down, that's what I was trying to navigate during that time. And thank goodness that's lifted a bit. I'll say a bit because I still can feel it, but it was big. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to ground and go outside when it's cold out. It's snowing out today,
Oh, for
and I don't
sure.
have a bath. I only have a shower, so meditation was the key. But for me, it was just the exhaustion. I just rested and slept, and it's like, okay. And I watch a few I do watch a few channels of people that are really good and, people that I follow, and everyone was saying the same thing. It's just purging. We're doing this emotional purge, and we're being bombarded with these light codes and the solar flares, like the CME have been off the charts, the coronal mass ejections, and the light that's being bombarded because we're ascending, and the DNA codes and the changes and the timeline shifts. So do you think that we had some sort of timeline shift over the last couple of weeks? And what do you guys think? Asria, what do you think? Do you think we had a timeline shift?
That's a really interesting question, because I really do feel, again, this is coming from my own personal experience, first of all, that I certainly feel that it's almost as though we were in a different space. So I don't know very much if that's a timeline thing, but it was kind of like we went to bed on the 28th, and when we kind of going into this December, not only are we at the end of a calendar year, but it's as though, as I said, through this whole time of being hitting to ground and being tired, there has been a shift. Absolutely. I feel it within myself. It's what I'm getting from my guides. But again, we were speaking to Kate earlier. Sometimes we try and look at things so in a much linear way to say, this is what happens on these dates, and we've moved from this to this on this date at this time. And I think it's the case of, as we are coming to the end of this year, then 100%, we've there is that change, there is that shift, because even as I said, look at Gaia, look at, as you were saying, with like the Schumann resonances and things like that, and I think as we go into 2026, the calendar year, that the whole vibration of the planet, as you said, when we talk about 3D, 4D, 5D, it's just really being aware of what is happening around you. And you don't always have to have I think what I'm trying to get at in the long-winded way is you don't always have to have the exact answer. It doesn't always have to be the exact thing, because that's not the way the universe works. It's not always absolutely precise. Right, we've done this, now we have to do that, because there are different things that alter the trajectory a little bit. But I certainly feel within the past 2 to 3 weeks, we are at a different vibrational level, and that's what I'm getting from my guides, who are certainly here right now as well.
Okay. What about you, Peyton? What do you think?
I feel like that's definitely what was happening. At the moment when it happened, I didn't correlate it to a timeline shift, but it felt very obvious. For the past, like a few days in a row, I had a few things going on, hospital appointments, going to the shopping center, supermarket. Every single time I entered those big doors, it felt like I went through a portal, and my body shifted. It's as if I was on a yacht, and I had to get my sea legs to feel composed. It was very freaky, but it didn't just happen once. Every time for like a few days, every single time I entered one of these places, I felt like if the place went woo, and I had to catch myself and before I stumble and fall. I didn't know what to make of it at the time. I just, observed, like, what are my consciousness trying to tell me? That's what I kept thinking. What are you guys trying to say to me? Because this is so physical. It's like, I don't know if you've ever been on a yacht. Like when it's sailing, you can't really walk like you could on hard floor. You feel like you have to find your balance. And that's how I felt every single time. I'm like, what is going on? Can you just be clear? Can you tell me what's happening? So that's how I experienced it. I observed a shift in my personal life. Yes. Relocation. And now because of the upheaval that's happened, another relocation, because it's like a real quick end to this new scenario that came up quite quickly as well. So it feels good, like a purge, But when you're going through the purge, it isn't always very pleasant. So you have to keep your mind focused on getting to the other side. The other side of the purge is when everything will be a lot better and more comfortable, where you find your balance again. So I don't know if anybody else experienced that sort of shake, that physical shake in the system, where you had to really center yourself before you took the next step because it was that obvious.
Yeah, I did. I've had a lot of vertigo, and all of a sudden I'll be standing there, and it's like, ooh! All of a sudden you get lightheaded and a little dizzy, like a little wave of dizziness, and you're like, you have to hold on to get stable. Yeah. Another thing, have you noticed this? It's like you don't really notice that your ear is ringing, but all of a sudden your ear will stop ringing, and then it's like there'll be like a shift in pressure, and then this ear will go silent, and then all of a sudden the other ear will go ee! Like there's like a change in vibration. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. 100%.
Kate,
I
what
totally
about
agree.
you?
Isaiah, I totally agree, because that's the first time, Lady D, that I've experienced that or heard, paid attention to it. Maybe it's been going on. I haven't paid attention to it. And the
Right.
same thing about the vertigo. I never have vertigo. In the last 2 weeks, yeah. Part of the reason I've been in, taking a lot of naps and doing absolutely only what's necessary or taking the baths is to really kind of ground that and help my body. Yeah. I keep hoping that, like, this time shift in my mind, I'm like expecting at some point it's just going to be one leap and then we're there. We all wake up in this different space, but it seems that it feels more like these are jumps, and what we just experienced was a really big leap forward or ahead or whatever you want to say. And getting through it was a real physical challenge. And now I feel like, okay, it's here and it's anchored in. My body's still coming to a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Our bodies are going from carbon-based to crystalline. So it's not going to be a walk in the park. And, just with the cleansing and the clearing the last couple of weeks. So do you feel it's getting really intense now because we're getting to some kind of maybe turning point, so to speak? I'm just wondering, because I'm getting that the energies the next couple of weeks are going to be really, really intense, and we're going to be like catapulted to a certain, let's say, vibrational energy. We've been, rather than all of a sudden like snapping our fingers and all of a sudden we're in the fifth dimension. It can't happen that way. We have to incrementally change our vibration, otherwise our bodies would explode. I mean, our physical bodies cannot withstand this. So I just am wondering, I'm getting from my higher self and from God and Yeshua that where we got to a certain point and or around Thanksgiving, we had to get, like, it's almost like we had to level up vibrationally. And the next couple of weeks is going to be big, big leaps. And there was a lot of like timelines that collapsed into this one timeline. And so what I'm getting is that there's the bifurcation of the timelines has happened. So it's like everyone's going to ascend eventually. Some people are just going to take the early express train. Some people are going to be a little later. So I'm just getting that right now, especially I notice with people that, and listen, no one's saying that anybody's better than others. It's just that we woke up for a reason quicker and sooner because we are on the front line. We're supposed to help these people. But I'm getting that a lot of people have been really, really irritable and nasty the last couple of weeks, because I see this shift of who's going first and who's going eventually or maybe not going at all. So I just wanted to get your perspective on what you think is going to happen this month, what you're getting from your guides and what you're getting on your downloads. And I'm going to start with Asria because you're on the left hand corner. So you get to go first again, Asria.
No worries. So I really feel what you said. Now we've kind of gone through this immense time, because remember we had that amazing like full moon within that time as well, and we've got like a new one coming up towards the end of the month. We've got solstice coming up, like winter solstice on the 21st. Apparently 3i Atlas is supposed to be close within our star system again on the 19th. And as much as that, we are coming to the end of that calendar year. Following on from what Dee was saying, I think it's the case of, it's almost as though we had like this lull period where, as we were all saying, like we had to do a lot of this clearing out, but we had to kind of like do all the steps in order to do a lot of the clearing. But I think that potentially, in sort of simplistic terms, maybe took a little bit longer than kind of maybe was needed or was allocated, so to speak. I'm putting my project management hat on and kind of seeing the timeline to go, right, this task is done, that task is done, as Kate was saying with her whiteboard earlier. But I think now it's, as you said, it's ramping up. It's kind of like, oh, hold on a minute, we do have this deadline for whatever the next, as Peyton was referring to earlier, around like the different portals, the different energy gates. There's certain things that need to have happened and do, and certain vibrations and frequencies that we need to get to by a certain point. So therefore, if we are looking at it on this calendar year, then yeah, we ain't got that much time left. So actually, between what are we on now, the 14th and the 30th, I would very much expect things to, and even like things like within our governments and councils and family groups and dare I say Hollywood, and literally every single element, there will be that significant change. Because remember also, as we go into 2026, it's a 1 year. Numerology is a 1 year. So I think it's 2 + 2 + 6. So number one is that restarting, is that kind of like pushing forward. It's that rebirthing. It's that really kind of moving forward. And anyone who does numerology might want to add a little bit more in there. I don't really do numerology, but the one thing I have picked up on through other people is that one. So in order to get to that point, to that January, to that 1st of January, to start off that full reboot, and I'll be surprised as we move into from the 31st to the 1st, using that time. And again, I'm not too sure what the planets and everything are doing, but utilizing that time to sit in meditation, to have those salt baths, because it is anchoring in those changes, anchoring in those frequencies, anchoring in all those changes that have happened over that December month. I said, everything's gone. Everything that needed to is going or gone. But those changes, whether it's the changes from one timeline to another, whether it's moving from one frequency to another. So spending more time in meditation, whatever that looks like for you, doing those salt baths. I know that this is what I'm going to do. It's not just the case I'm telling, this is what I'm going to be doing as well. And especially as we move from 1 year to the next, as I said, we got that new moon around that time as well. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of movement, and I really pick up on what Peyton was saying with those portals as well, and certainly keep an eye out for them, because I think there's going to be quite a few more popping up here and there, and especially when that 3i Atlas comes a little bit closer, because that's what it tends to open up.
Asria, when do they say the date is for that to come closest?
At the moment, I've heard from various people around, again, not precisely, around the 19th.
Okay. What's interesting is that, so Dolores Cannon and Edgar Casey, they both had predictions for this time separate from each other. They didn't know each other. And Dolores didn't, and she never read his material because she wanted to stay clean in the information that she got. They both said December 21st was a really huge moment when we would start to notice that, hey, there's almost like two worlds existing side by side. They also said that everybody will catch up, but everybody in their own time, which is exactly what we were just talking about and what you were saying, Lady D. And I've been wondering in my mind, about that, but also, how does that look and how does that feel? But also, what role does 3i Atlas have in that? Because to me, it seems significant, like it's the thing sparking, like it's energetically sparking, helping, promoting the energies to move forward and us to move forward too.
Yeah.
So I guess I just wanted
it's
to pop in and say that
absolutely
there's a lot going on, astrologically, even like astrologers are talking about it at the same time that all of this is happening. So it's fascinating to me. And obviously we're feeling it. And I do feel like we're ahead of where we were, whatever the ahead means. We're in the good, let's say. We're in the new energies. And it feels like there's another one coming in a couple of weeks too. So there'll be more of this type of energy.
That's very interesting about Dolores Cannon and Edgar Casey.
Yeah.
The way I'm getting it, and a lot of other people get, people that are in, I will say, spiritual teachers and psychics and mediums are getting that. It's kind of like we'll be able to see them, and this is how Dolores Cannon explained it too. We'll be able to see them at first, like 2 trains, and then all of a sudden we won't be able to see them anymore. It's almost like ghosts. Like we'll be sharing the same plane of existence, the same, but they'll be, how you can see, sometimes you can see spirits and sometimes you can't because they're overlapping. They're sharing the same space, but they're in 2 different dimensions at the same time. That's what Dolores said. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm getting, which is kind of psychedelic, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, but we're in for crazy times.
Very.
Peyton, what do you think? What do you think's going to happen, or what do you've been getting psychically and spiritually is going to happen over the next few weeks?
Well, quite a few things. The earth is experiencing an awakening on its own. The consciousness is rising. Hence, a lot more people are becoming aware and waking up, as you say, in inverted commas. And this awakening doesn't mean that they will feel and be aware of the sensations that we do, because, we've been living this way for a very long time. But they are now beginning to look up and think, oh, that doesn't sound right. Or I don't feel I need to go out and party and drink anymore. That's like not serving me. I just rather stay home, have a cup of tea and just, relax and stuff. So people are beginning to separate from their friend group or from habits that they had for a long time. It might seem confusing to them as well, because they're like, oh my God, I'm bored. I'm bored with life. But it's not that they're bored. They're literally waking up. So the things that used to be important are no longer important. And soon what the soul wants you to pay attention to will materialize, will come to you, and you'll be led. They might begin to listen to podcasts such as this, or they might become more intuitive because now they're sitting in their silence because they've let go of all the people and all the distractions that they were involved in for such a long time. So that's part of what's happening. And as you rightfully said, Lady D, we are all involved in this together, but we're all starting from a different part of the timeline. So some may have more information and different abilities, and some may now be opening up and growing or understanding there's such a thing called abilities. So that's one little thing. With regards to what Asria mentioned about the rebooting, I just want you guys to know the real reboot will come on April 1st in spring, when was the renewal of life and the birth of everything. That's the real new year. The fake new year that they cause us to celebrate and suck our energies, that's all it's doing, is just sucking our energies, siphoning it away from us. But if we really focus our thoughts and all that we want for ourselves, and to reboot on April 1st, the All Fools Day, because, they make fun of you because, you're wearing the tinfoil hat. So April 1st, focus your energies and really do what you need to do to reboot yourself there. And then you spoke about the 2 worlds existing simultaneously. Yes, I can see it expressed as what you said, the spiritual world existing alongside our physical world, much closer or much more obvious than it ever was before. But I understand there's another facet to that as well. Sometimes I feel that people are living in totally different worlds when you hear how people interpret a narrative. Like, you would be convinced that everybody will have your trend of thought, but then you come across a whole bunch of other people that have a completely different opinion, but it's all united in that one opinion that's different from this. So these people are living their life according to this narrative and perspective. And then you have these people living their life according to this narrative and perspective. And to me, that's also the parallel worlds, you know, like how people perceive the government or perceive medicine or perceive you know, having children and a family. It's like it's so split down the middle. You have those that say, no, don't procreate because, you know, this is a fake world and why would you bring children into it? And then you have those, no, procreate, that's what we're meant to do. It's our biological right to do so. And it's just going down the line, two different worlds. So that's how I see it in a tangible way. But yes, the spiritual world and the physical world are so close together. We don't even have to dream to feel them around us anymore. We literally can just draw our attention to the corner or just in front of your desk and you think, hi, something is there. I may not be able to see you, but I sense you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unbelievable. On December 3rd, I went outside and I looked up because I always look up. Actually, I looked out the window and I looked up and I saw ship after ship after ship. They were en route somewhere. It was like and I've seen spaceships. I've seen these were spheres, little spheres, and they were going somewhere. They were pretty high up, but they were going somewhere. And I've never seen that before. It was like I counted 11 in the sky all at a time. So they were traveling somewhere. And then we heard that the International Space Station is full. No other countries can send their people there. So something galactically is happening and it's huge. Now, everyone's talking about Three Eye Atlas. I got right at the beginning that it was a mothership and there were scout ships in it and around it. There were more than one species of extraterrestrial on there, and they were all there to help us. They're helping us ascend. So I just wanted to get your perspective on Three Eye Atlas. And do you believe that they're helping us ascend and what's their purpose? I'm going to start with you, Kate, since you're to my left.
Okay. I feel the first thing that I got when I remote viewed it or was with it was that I felt like it was a scout ship, that it was kind of centrally taking like scientifically measuring everything in the universe, measuring the earth and things like that, taking that. I didn't look at what was inside, but what I also felt like whoever sent it is cheeky enough to say, like, we're here to help. And this is going to actually boost the energy of the times, how everything is lining up astrologically and that kind of thing. So it feels and still feels really positive to me.
Beautiful. What about you, Asria? What do you think about Three Eye Atlas?
Yeah, I think and from what I've been hearing from my guides and higher self, and it was been really interesting with regards to exactly where it's actually come from and why it's here now. And I agree very much with yourself and Kate that what I get from the scholars is that this has come from outside of our solar system completely, and it came in through a portal. Now we're going to be hearing more and more and more about various different portals, but the different beings and the different race of beings, some of them know it, some of them very much is kind of like a welcome figure. Because remember, Earth and Gaia, from a galactic perspective, we're kind of like the best soap opera in the galaxy right now. Everybody's watching us because we're the ones who are ascending. We're the ones having the large amount of change. There has been other planets and star systems that have gone through something like this, but as I said, we're kind of like the best soap opera on the planet right now. And with Three Eye Atlas coming in from through this portal into our star system, but also remember there are lots of other smaller ones, as you were saying, Dee. The one again, seeing those 11. There's lots of other comets or whatever they're calling them now as well. And the comets are scouter ships. A lot of them are scouter ships because it's the race of beings that are coming in, and as I said, some of them know what it is, and it's kind of like, yes, this is fantastic, because they're at that level ready to have this immense kind of frequency and energy put on this planet in order to help it, to help Gaia, to help individuals. But then there's some races that actually they're not too sure about it. They haven't really experienced it before. They haven't really seen it before. So that's why we're getting more as these comets in, because they're other scouter ships. They're kind of going in and having a look, but at the same time wanting to help Earth and wanting to help Gaia, as to say, well, okay, well, if this is what they're doing, how can we come in and help? How can we come in and assist? And with the vibration increasing on Gaia as well, they are able to get that little bit closer than they ever have done before. That's why we are seeing, again, this is what I was getting from them. This is why we're seeing more and more activity, because it's kind of like going, I want to be at the front row of the theater. And so they go, well, how close to the screen, how close to the stage can I actually get? And that's where you do get these other comets and so on and so forth. So the actual, excuse me, energies that and frequencies that are coming from this vessel, because remember, a lot of the actual ships are organic anyway. There's not many that, as said, are actually made of metal, etc. But that's a different can of worms to open. But I think it is a very, very, very positive ship. It is a very positive thing to be around us. It is a very positive. That's why I think it's always a good idea to maybe have an idea of how close it is to us. What do you feel? Are you getting any light codes? Are you getting that time, as Dee was saying, where maybe you're getting that the high pitchedness? Again, it's not necessarily directly related, but it's good to have an awareness of what else is going on in our galaxies, what else is going on, and if there is a correlation for you. Some people there might be, some people it could be, no, nothing's happened. And whatever the case may be, that is perfectly fine. And then the last thing I just wanted to say on that is, as we are moving through to these higher vibrations, remember, as we're moving into 5D, we are moving from a very much brain kind of like dominated place. So it's very much up here to, okay, now we're getting started, to a heart dimension. So it's not always, what are you feeling up here? It's what are you feeling here? Because again, I think with 3i Atlas, it's a bit of a reminder to go that we're very much now heart-centered, that heart consciousness. So how are you feeling it round here as well? Because I think as that came into our star system, there was more talk and more feeling within that space as well. So it's nothing but very positive. And they carry on talking, but I'll finish there.
You're so funny, Asria. Peyton, what are you getting psychically, intuitively, and with all your, let's say, you have a lot of people on the other side talking to you, your crew. What are you getting from your, I'll say, psychic crew about 3i Atlas and what's going on in our skies and our galaxy?
All right. Well, I have a different perspective from what I just heard. So you guys bear with me. All right.
Okay.
Now, they are real. Yes, they are real. And they are presenting as if they've come to help and give love and light and all that woo, fuzzy, lovey feeling. But it's a psyop. It's a psyop once again to distract you from not paying attention to your inward self and constantly looking for the almighty savior. They've lost with religion, they've lost with celebrity, they've lost with law and all the things they can compress your mind with. And now they're hijacking spirituality in this form of spirituality where people are psychics or mediums, etc. So they're hijacking it to be able to just totally steer us away once again from looking within, using your own cognition, connecting with your own higher self, gathering information for yourself. Once again, you're looking up in the sky, not to Jesus or God or any of the religious icons this time, but to extraterrestrials, AI, 3i Atlas, and all the other names that you can call possibly. Anything that steers you away from looking within, I would suggest to be very, very wary of it. Yes, they're there. Yes, they sweet talk you with sugar and honey because it's easier to do that than to come and snatch you by the throat because you will be more resistant and be afraid. But they give you all the loving, calm words. They make you feel all the warm, fuzzy feelings inside. So you let your guard down. And before you know it, you never progress spiritually. Once again, you're following another thing instead of centering and learning to stand in your sovereignty and be able to raise your own vibration. Or when we go into the afterlife, we're able to stand in our own sovereignty there as well, because it doesn't end when we pass over. It's still going on there, all the trickery and all the stuff to kind of suck you back into this soul trap to reincarnate again to live another terrible life with the promise of, oh, you could do it better this time, and you made mistakes, and you know your family member misses you, you should come back, and you get tricked back into it, and you're like, damn it, why did I fall for that? But if you just stay away from those things, you can observe them, like, oh yeah, they're talking about all these extraterrestrials and interdimensional beings. That's quite interesting that we've come from denying them to speaking about them publicly. That's really fascinating. But I would suggest that everyone don't take it on board so much that you're thinking that they're coming to help. What they've come to do, and they've been successfully doing it for a long time, like the Pleiades and all these different people, just have you caught up in believing in them. They're going to help. They're going to save you. They're the reason you have abilities. They're giving you the information. And it's all about them. It's almost like they've got this big ego that it's just them. Just recenter, regroup, and see them as a movie and just enjoy the show.
No, that's an interesting perspective. And I understand that perspective of that. Instead of looking up and looking to others, it's like we have to empower ourselves. Yeah, I mean, even Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus said, what I do, you will do and more. So there is, there are some people that think like Yeshua's coming back and he's going to come and save us. No, the Christ energy is here. We are living in the Christ energy. We are the Christ energy. We are all the disciples. We are the Christ consciousness. We embody it. So I do understand that perspective. It's that, and that's more like everything's been a big psyop because they want to distract us from our power. It's always been somebody else, somebody outside of ourselves, other than us and our power. That, whether or not you believe in the Bible, I'm not a religious person. I grew up Catholic, but in the Bible, it does say the kingdom of God is within you. All the different religions basically say that the Christ consciousness, God, we are, and if you think about it, if we are children of our creator, children of God, that means that we are many gods, right? God is our parent, and with the power of God is within us. So it makes sense that we are powerful. And it's the powers that be for eons that have disempowered us. So that does make a lot of sense. So in terms of the energy, and now we have the winter solstice happening on the 21st. What do you see energetically happening around the 21st, if anything, Kate, of this month? Because I know it's the winter solstice is a pretty powerful energy. Do you feel a big significant change? What are you getting intuitively, Kate?
I'm going to have somebody else go first, and I'm going to tap into that because that's a great specific question. Yeah.
All right. Who wants to go first?
All right. Now, I'm not very good at the seasons and the different things, but I just know that like the winter solstice signifies the darkest day of the year, isn't it? So it's like the end of the cycle, and we're waiting for the rebirth of something new within that time span. So I think that what I've observed over the past year, because this year just seemed to has been like on a roller coaster. It was January just the other day. Now we're in December, heading to another January. So I feel like it's also like a continuation of more and more and more people looking up and disagreeing with what they're being controlled with and things like that, and actually having the I don't know, the gumption or the strength within them to really object and not stay quiet anymore. I feel like those energies will, in a steadily increase. And maybe December, we might see a significant spike, but I think it will continue to steadily increase all the way throughout 2026.
What do you see, Asria?
So with the winter solstice, for me, it's a time of reflection. All the
Okay.
solstices and equinox is always a really, really good time for reflection. So if we're dialing it back to its actual traditional marks, yes, when Peyton was saying, yes, it is sort of like the darkest and longest day, but it really is about, again, it's that going within, but it's honoring. As if we're taking it back to its original, it's honoring that time, it's honoring the harvest, it's honoring the darkness, it's honoring the light, it's using and I guess it's really around clarity. For me, it's also around clarity, because yes, it is the end of the year, but also when it's dark, people stay inside. People, as you said, even now, more people are deciding to sit at home on their couch with their cup of tea rather than going out drinking and whatever. So whether you're pagan, Wiccan, or however you don't have to be any of these things, but one of the things that I certainly do is always light a fire. And the fire for me is kind of like the caveman TV. And it's doing those cleansing rituals. So if there's anything else that you wanted to clear, if there's anything else you wanted to end, and as I said, honoring that time, sometimes with a little bit of drumming or something like that. I mean, we can go down the whole rabbit hole of what with history of what solstice is, but I think for this year it is that next step around. As I said, we've had the full moon, we've had the portal, we would have had the new moon, so this is again another step to help us towards this end of year, and to the next celebration, which I believe, and please do correct me wrong in the side chat, which is probably around March, April time. Again, can't remember off the top of my head, when we're looking at celebrating the next solstices, etc. I think I'm wrong on that, but please correct me in the side chat.
Okay.
But for me, again, it's just coming home into the warm, and being still. Because again, there's lots of stuff that we're talking about, lots of stuff that we're doing, and especially around this time when it's Christmas, so there's family and gifts and this, that, and the other. So I personally use that time to just be still, whatever that looks like for you.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Kate?
Okay, thank you, because because now I can put words to what I was getting, and I couldn't find the language for it. It feels like we'll be going through another leveling up, another, what have we just gone through, and since for those 2 weeks following Thanksgiving, I feel like that will happen in a series of maybe 2-week times. And it feels like February is going to be some phenomenal energy, like huge breakthroughs. Almost like that to me feels like there's a culmination of something that happens then, but going in a series of steps. And leveling up is all I get. Clarity. Again, the same thing we just went through. Clarity, getting rid of the old, knowing what we need to get rid of. I feel like there's more of that. And the 21st is another like big opening for that, those revelations.
Yeah, we lost Peyton. Hopefully she'll
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting there's going to be a huge transformation. and it's going to start within the next couple of weeks. In terms of, let's just say people are expecting a lot of big things with the monetary system and stuff like that. What are you getting with the monetary system? There's all this like chatter about going from a new to an old system. Are you getting anything psychically, spiritually regarding that, Kate?
I'm feeling like it's going to, there'll definitely be shifts. Like I feel like we're definitely going to a gold standard. Probably Bitcoin will be part of that, or the cryptos somehow. But I don't see, and I've never seen a huge shift where everybody loses everything and then the few people that invested in other things are okay. I feel like the powers at top are manipulating, so they're always going to come out ahead, but nothing is going to be crashed one way or another, to create a Great Depression. I've never gotten that. I think it's going to be more balanced. And I think there's some new surprises that we're going to have with things that we don't. I think you've gotten this in your cards too, Lady D. Like there's new things coming out, new things coming out for different countries, even the United States, that we're not even aware of now, that we've never had, that will be in place. Brand new ideas about how to do things, and that feels like that's part of that. So I'm very hopeful and feel really good. The energies seem fine to me. I think we're all going to be okay. And the more we're kind of looking up and paying attention to it and understanding that things are shifting, then I think the better off we'll be. Yeah.
Absolutely. I do feel there is going to be a release of debt. I mean, that's something
that's a good word. Yeah. That's good. Right. I feel that too.
I mean, that's just the energy, and this is like biblical. I mean, every like I don't know, 500, I don't know, don't quote me on the time, but every there's a certain amount of time, and after a certain amount of time passes, there's a release of debt. So I do think there's going to be a lot of release of debt. I do see people are going to be one system ending and another beginning, but I'm not getting that there's going to be people that are going to be, like you said, they're going to be poor and left without money. I think there's enough for everybody. And I just think there's going to be an even playing field, and everyone's going to have plenty, and it's not going to be the have and have nots.
Yeah.
Which I
like
think
there's new avenues. Even like debt relief is a new avenue that we haven't experienced in our lifetime before.
Yes.
And that's one side of it. And then the other side of it is, are you going to make more income, or is there more ways that money come in, or even abundance coming in? And I feel like all of that. Like it just looks like there's going to be benefits all the way around. We just don't know about them. I feel like you can feel them when you're connected deeply, and you're connecting to the energies. You can feel, hey, I'm okay. I'm on a large ship and I'm riding this really big ocean, and I'll be okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we do know that there is an RV, a revaluation going on with foreign currency. So, and we do know that the American dollar is no longer being traded on the open market. And we do know there is going to be changes in the monetary system. We do know that the elites have been trying to put a stop or whatever, a push on silver and gold. So, I mean, we are going to, gold and silver, what is it, the precious metals. So, and I mean, people, you can't even get silver anymore. I mean, it's just people are buying it left and right. And this is what JFK was trying to do. He was trying to get rid of the Federal Reserve and go back to the gold and silver and the precious metals backed currency. So I do think there is going to be a change. I just don't know how it's going to roll out. Asria, what are you getting in terms of, do you get anything from the scholars or anything about a change in, abundance, financial system, debt? What are you getting, hon?
I agree with you, ladies, with regards to, as you said, there are certain systems and there are certain ways of within the banking and the financial system. But one of the things that they were just very much kind of coming through is that I think a lot of it is to do around the different mindsets and the different places that people are actually sitting, i.e. going within, because we're not necessarily, or there's more of a majority that do not sit in fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think not sitting in fear has a huge impact on, as we were saying earlier, many, many different areas of the world as well. So as much as absolutely there are, as you said, with the debt management, there's ways in, as you said, maybe currency that we don't even know, whether it's digital, whether it's paper, whether it's whatever. But I do feel that, as you said, as a collective, they don't necessarily have a mass level of control. Because again, if we're putting all of what we've been saying for like this program together, it's yes, okay, we will have to have some sort of a, I'm guessing, monetary financial, because we can't just turn that off and there's nothing to exchange, as you were rightly saying, with the gold and the silver. But I do feel that there isn't, if we're looking at it from an energetic perspective, people aren't then going, oh, I have to have this amount of money and I have to have this and I have to have that. We're going more about, as I said, a heart-led perspective. So it's, yes, I'm fine within myself. I trust the process. I trust myself. This is what is right. This is what is wrong. And maybe not necessarily going out and spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds on a weekend bender and spending lots of money on alcohol and champagne and whatever. So the whole mindset is also shifting, as you said, where celebrities may be spending £200-300 on a ticket to go to Taylor Swift. People may be going, actually, no, I'll spend that on maybe a friend or a weekend retreat or something like that. The way in which we're using money and utilizing it as well. Some people are maybe going back down to basics and the simple things in life. So I think it all has, it all very much does have an impact. And as you said, some people might then also then look at exchanges. So exchanges with regards to like skill-based exchanges. So again, the reliance on money isn't necessarily there. I mean, this is more maybe wishful thinking, but as much as anything else. But I think it's going to be an interesting time with regards to the financial system, because hopefully we might become into a point where we're not as reliant on it. It will be there, but the reliance and the fear and the hold that it has over us may change.
Yeah. I appreciate what you said, Asria. Yeah, I appreciate so much what you said. You said because you're feeling that more people are holding in their power and they're not afraid and they know who they are. And I feel like as I'm seeing like these leaps forwards, I think we just came through one of that where a significant more amount of people actually realized and stepped into their power. And I think those are part of these leaps forward. And I know that the powers that be, that think they be or whatever have manipulated, they can feel that, no, that's our way of pushing back. We're saying, no, we're believing in something else. We're seeing all those other ways, like Asria, you're saying, like spending less money not being the thing. It's actually the abundance and prosperity, which is all around us. It's in exchanging with our neighbors. It's, hey, I'm a farmer and you're a plumber. Let's work together. You know what I mean? To meet each other's needs, those kind of things. I see all of that and can feel all of that very deeply. Yeah, I think we're making those big shifts and taking our power back. And to me, that's quite simple. That's staying in your power and connecting to the divine, connecting to your heart, letting the chatter of the mind go and really being that and feeling that. And I think the more people that do it, that's elevating us and that's helping these leaps that we're having.
Absolutely. When you were talking about the heart-based consciousness, that's what I've been getting to. It's that we always think that we overthink everything, and I think pretty much what I'm seeing is that everyone thinks that they're going to think their way into this ascension, but that's not the case. Our mind can't even comprehend what's happening to our body because even our minds are being upgraded, and we're going from that our ego left, the ego left monkey brain to our higher self, our right brain, which is connected to our higher self and our oversoul and to the divine. So I don't even think that we can even conceive what's happening to us. And it is, we're going back to our heart, because it's not about what we think, it's about how we feel. Because we've been programmed about to think, 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 think. Everything is about thinking, and we overthink. And I think what we're going back to is the heart. It's not about about the ruminating brain and thinking. It's about how you feel and breathing into our heart. And the more I do the deep breaths and I breathe, I pretend like I'm breathing in and out of my heart, and you focus and you're heart centered. I think that's basically the key to it, because if we try to think about what's going to happen to us and try to understand it and conceive it with our human brain, it's just inconceivable. What say you, Kate?
Yeah, it's not possible to figure out all of the different pieces and things going on and what everybody else is doing. But I think our real power, I agree with you, comes from when we're in our heart, and then we can check in with ourselves. Am I okay right now? Does my family have everything they need? Yes. You know what I mean? It's a process of kind of coming back to that. How do I need to plan for the future, given some kind of uncertainty? And then you make the best decision you can from that, from that heart space. What do I need right now? What does everybody around me need? That kind of thing. I see a lot of people paying attention to, like, in the community or into the neighbors, like in my neighborhood, really looking out. Like, my neighbor shoveled my driveway today while I was still
Nice.
sleeping. And isn't that so beautiful? And so, like, and that's really beautiful. That's the kind of, because she knew I probably would need a hand, that I was, probably sleeping late or whatever, and I would help her. And she does really well in the snow. So, and she knows my little, I have a little Pekingese. She made her a bunch of little trails too, because I usually keep those out for her, because she loves to go outside and look for bunnies and things like that, which is really sweet. Whole nother story, but it's adorable because the bunnies actually really love her. And so it's those kind of things, reaching out, making sure your neighbor has what they need. I'm going to the grocery store. Can I pick up something for you? Or that kind of thing. I'm seeing a lot more of that than I've seen. I hope that answered your question. I got caught up thinking about the Pekingese and the bunnies, and and my mind drifted.
No, you totally answered the question. I think
Okay.
Peyton's trying to get back. I see.
Okay.
But I don't see her. I think she's trying to get back. So, we've been on for over an hour. I don't want to keep you guys too long. So, is there anything that we didn't cover today that you wanted to talk about the, integrating these intense energies, especially because we're probably not going to do another show until after the first of the year, believe it or not. It's crazy. I don't know where this year went. So, is there anything that we didn't cover today that you want to cover? I'll start with Asria, and then we'll go to Kate. We'll see if Peyton, she's trying to get on. What say you, Asria?
I think we've absolutely covered most things, and it's really as we were saying earlier, that, or maybe we haven't said this, but don't be hard on yourself. One thing I said that very much came through during the week, that I done a quick video on. Peyton's back. There we go. Is, yeah, as I said, don't be too hard on yourself, because you are becoming the version you've never been before. So if you need to rest, if you need to, as I said, go into that meditation, whatever that looks like for you, whether focusing on the breath, focusing on the heart, whatever that is for you, because, and especially around this time of year as well, because I mean, some people can be drawn into all the family doing whatever, however, wherever, and yeah, if you need to go and nap, don't necessarily feel as though that you have to maybe overly maybe like explain yourself or something, but just be aware of what is also happening around you. As much as I said, you are going in, going into that heart space, going into that heart center, because again, we're moving from the head into that heart space. So I think that's really the last thing I wanted to say, as we move into, as you said, as we move into sort of December, or as we're moving through December, sorry, and moving into the new calendar year. yeah, just don't be hard on yourself. Because I know I said we've all been through, all the ladies on this screen, our own sort of ups and downs, and sometimes we can, as I said, think, oh, should be doing this and should be doing that. It shouldn't. We only should be doing what you want. So yeah, just be aware of what's going on for you. Rest when you need to, meditate when you need to, and yeah, just really don't be too hard on yourself.
Beautiful. Peyton, I'm glad you're back. Peyton went to the sixth and seventh dimension and came back. So,
I
is
did.
there anything? I'm glad you're back. Is there anything that we didn't cover tonight or today that you wanted to let the audience know about the intense energies that we're experiencing and going to experience until the end of the year?
Well, piggybacking
Till
off
the
of what
30th.
Asria was talking about, the festivities and things like that, meeting with family and stuff. There are a lot of people who don't do that and they stay by themselves and they do feel very, very lonely. And I would like to let them particularly know that this holiday too shall pass. It's just a few days. Don't let it get you down. And you will see the people you want to hang out with again soon. And I know that those people are probably preoccupied with their family and doing things for the holiday season. But before you know it, it'll be over. Don't be heartbroken, don't fall sad. It's okay. Find something fun on Netflix to look at or Amazon Prime and just have a laugh. Do something just for you. And it's nobody's business that you spent it on your own either. You're not up for criticism. And don't be embarrassed about it because no one's to judge. Who are they and how dare they judge you? All right? You just find your way through this holiday season the best you can. And before you know it, everyone will be complaining about how much money they've spent, and you will still have your money in your pocket. So you'll just laugh at them at that point in time.
Right. Or they'll complain about how fat they got. They gained weight for all the food that they ate.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Kate, what say you about the before we go, if there's anything we didn't cover?
I would say to do things, even if it's a little thing that brings you joy or allows you some release from the emotional stress or mental stress. So it could be like what Asria said, maybe start a fire if you can in your backyard, not a fire like in the neighborhood, but like, you know what I mean? Because if a fire is the thing that brings you joy, maybe it's a candle that brings you joy. Maybe it would be, oh, I haven't sketched in a long time. Maybe it's having a quiet time to sketch. Maybe it's grabbing your little Pekingese and and playing or something like that. But do those kind of things, or reach out to a friend who's always very funny and just share a laugh with that person. But try to do some things that will spike the joy, because we're in some heavy energies as we as we're shifting, and it's good to keep our head above the water, because it feels a lot like water to me. So it's good to stay up as much as we can and keep our levels of stress as low as we can, because these are stressful times anyway, regardless of that we're going through these upgrades. So stressful time of the year. And I'm wishing everybody just the most beautiful energies, regardless of the holiday and the whatever. I wish everybody peace and love and joy, and that you can really feel your heart connected to the divine. The divine loves us and is here for us, as is the earth. And you'll feel that if you open your heart. So I'm inviting you to do that as well. And I'm wishing that for all of you. So, I mean, all the viewers and you ladies too, but yeah.
It is beautiful. Well, we know that Jesus, Yeshua HaMashiach, was not born in December, and we know that this is not the real New Year. The New Year's in the spring, like Peyton said. And we've been lied to, and the divine matrix has been hijacked by a false matrix. And this is a tough year for me, and is a tough year for a lot of people, because we tend, because of the Hallmark holiday type, that there's a spotlight on our lives, and people think that we should have the lives of a Hallmark Christmas movie, and nobody does. Nobody does. Okay, everybody is flawed. Everyone has fucked up families. Everybody is messed up to a degree. No one has it perfect. No one walks on water. So don't compare yourself to the incomparable. Don't compare yourself to people, to a life that you think that somebody has that really doesn't exist. The grass isn't always greener. It's just a different shade of green. It looks prettier, it looks brighter because you're used to your shade of green. But just because it's a different shade of green on the other side doesn't mean it's any brighter or better. Don't compare yourself to other people and other lives. Like Peyton said, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It might look like they have the picture perfect
Mhm.
family, and you don't know what happens behind closed doors. So just honor yourself. I agree with everything that these women said, and I'll just say honor yourself. Like who cares if it's Christmas? Who cares if it's New Year's? If you want to spend time alone, spend time alone. If you're tired, go lay down, go to sleep. Who says that you have to be productive, productive, productive? We're human beings, not doing. Honor yourself, love yourself, and don't compare yourself to others. That's what all I have to say. And of course, we won't be doing this probably until the end of until the why do I say the end? It is the end of the year, the beginning of next year. So we're wishing everyone a wonderful, wonderful rest of December and holiday season. And until then, we will see you next year. Believe it or not, can't believe it. So bye, everybody. Send in love.